You're getting ready for your Disney trip. You're planning one's coming, you're trying to see your options on where you're going to stay. Okay. If you were to come to me and ask me where you should stay, I would probably say that my first question is going to be, what are you looking to spend? Are you going to go value resort so that you can maximize the money you have for something else, or just make the trip a little bit cheaper? That actually makes it a lot easier. If you're going to say, yes, I just want to go value and save my money, that's good, because that really only leaves you about 5 resorts, and they're all kind of in the same spot, and they have a lot of the same benefits. The main drawback to the value resorts is that they're all buses to the Magic Kingdom, and they're some of the furthest away from the Magic Kingdom. But if the bus doesn't bother you, it's a pretty good option. Value resorts, the all-star resorts. So that's all-star music, all-star movies, all-star sports. I think theming-wise, you'd probably have to look to see if there's been any new updates for any rooms. I would say probably movies is probably going to have the most theming for kids. Sports has big fields, and would be fine too. They're all 3 decent options in value, and they're going to have big themed pools that you can go to with the kids. You also have for value resorts the Art of Animation and Pop Century. Now, the benefit to the Art of Animation and Pop Century resorts is they have access to the Skyliner that will bring you to Hollywood Studios and EPCOT. So if you think that you are more likely to go to EPCOT or Hollywood Studios on your trip and you want to go value, you would probably want to check out one of those 2. The All-Stars do not have access to the Skyliner. It's buses to everything. They're a little bit closer to Animal Kingdom. So that would be an option if you wanted to be closer and you didn't mind doing the buses. Everything is a bus to Animal Kingdom anyway, so if you wanted to shave a couple minutes off your ride, that would be a reason to maybe go there, but really it's not much of a difference bus ride time-wise when you're going between the 2. So this is when it starts to get a little bit tricky as you're moving up, because there's so many resorts that fit into like the moderate and deluxe levels that there's lots of options. And what you would probably want to do at that point, if you were to ask me, if I had asked you and you said, no, I'm not going to go value, I'm going to spend a little bit more money and get a nicer resort, I think my next question would then be, okay, does it matter if you're on the monorail loop to be closer or an easier trip over to the Magic Kingdom? Because then you've narrowed down your options. You've got the Contemporary, the Polynesian, and the Grand Floridian, which are all pretty similar as far as distance and ease of transport to Magic Kingdom and Epcot. Contemporary has a nice short walk to the Magic Kingdom if you want to go that way. I've done that a couple times. There's a separate security tent just for that walk. So if you wanted to go through there, it's usually a shorter trip through security, and it's not a very long walk. If it's nice weather, it's probably worth it. Grand Floridian, you can also walk to the Magic Kingdom. There are also easy trips to Epcot. You get on the monorail, go over to the TTC, and then hop on the monorail that goes over to Epcot. So that's a plus. But then to go to Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom direct from those, you're going to have to take a bus. Now, that's not the worst, but you'd have to make that determination on which makes the most sense. The Wilderness Lodge is also a boat ride over to Magic Kingdom if you wanted to do that. Otherwise, it's a bus to everywhere else. So we've covered the 2 kind of extreme sides, the value resorts and the deluxe resorts that are right there on the monorail loop. And if you said, no, I don't really want to be on the monorail loop being super close to Magic Kingdom. No, I want to go more than the value resorts. I want to go somewhere in between. Well, now you're in trouble, because you have so many options that you really probably have to just look at what's out there for theming, look at what is available, what fits into kind of the price range of those moderates that you're looking for. Some of the different options that you've got are the Caribbean Beach, Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter, and Coronado Springs. So now it comes down to cost. You're looking at some moderates and some deluxe resorts that are all kind of around the middle areas of where you might want to be. You've got options like the Caribbean Beach Resort, which I normally would not recommend. There is a internal bus loop there, which means that you get a bus stop close to where your room is, but your bus hits every stop around the resort before it goes to a park or when it's coming back from a park. You could be the first stop picked up, which is great, but then you have to wait through every other stop before you actually leave to go to the park you want to go to. However, they have added the Skyliner at Caribbean Beach. So if you know you want to go to EPCOT or Hollywood Studios, Caribbean Beach might be a good option for you. It's also fairly close to those parks. So if it's bad weather and the Skyliner is going down, you could be able to grab a bus to go to those parks. You're dealing with the inner loop, but then the bus ride to those parks isn't very long at that point, so it's not the worst. Port Orleans, French Quarter, and Riverside. I've stayed there before. I did like it. Very nice pools and nice theming. There is a internal loop, I believe, at Riverside, but not Port Orleans. So I would recommend Port Orleans over Riverside. They are buses to everywhere. The only difference there is that there is a boat that will take you to Disney Springs. If shopping and activities in Disney Springs is important to you, that might be a good place to do that one because you can take a nice boat. It doesn't take very long to get down there, and you can get dropped off right in Disney Springs. Beach Club, Yacht Club, Boardwalk Inn, those are all really good for either boat or Skyliner access or walking to EPCOT and Hollywood Studios. We stayed at the Beach Club the last trip we went down, and it was a very easy walk to get over to EPCOT. It was a fairly easy walk to get over to Hollywood Studios, though what we typically did because of the boys was we would either walk over to the Skyliner, get on the Skyliner, and go out to Caribbean Beach and transfer over to Hollywood Studios. Though there was one day we were closer to take the boat, and we took the boat to Hollywood Studios instead. The Swan and Dolphin resorts can be nice. They are not as expensive as other deluxe resorts, and they have a lot of the same benefits as the deluxe resorts, like the extended evening hours. The one big downside to them, you used to be able to take a bus directly from the Swan and Dolphin to the Magic Kingdom, but you can't anymore. You have to take a bus from there to the TTC, and from there take a ferry or the monorail over to the Magic Kingdom. Not the worst. If you're willing to make that extra trip and do that, then it's not bad. The price probably more than makes up for that if you're willing to do that extra trip. I typically like to have that extra ease of going straight to the front at Magic Kingdom and not having to go to the TTC to get through security and go on to ferries and monorails. I prefer to just be able to go straight up to the front of the park. But if you don't mind making that extra stop, it is usually a pretty good deal to stay at the Swan and Dolphin and get those extra perks at the cost of going to the TTC instead. Okay, so at this point now, I would say the only other question would be like, Animal Kingdom? Is Animal Kingdom your favorite? You're going to spend most of your time at Animal Kingdom, and you don't mind paying the deluxe prices? Then Animal Kingdom Lodge is your best bet. Just get in there. You're the closest to the park you're going to be able to be, and that's just where you want to stay anyway. So there you go. Really, one of the other things you could do is if you know you don't want to go value and you're not going to go deluxe on the monorail loop, then probably the easiest thing for you to do is pull up the Disney site when you're going to look to book where you want to stay, and pull up the My Disney Experience to look at a map. Figure out where your priorities are, which park you're going to be at the most. Are you mostly going to go to the Magic Kingdom? Are you thinking you might want to go more to Hollywood Studios and EPCOT? Hollywood Studios and EPCOT is probably the one that's the key. If you are at the point with your kids that for their ages, you think Hollywood Studios and EPCOT might be where you're going to hang out the most for right now, then you have a lot of options that will get you there using the Skyliner or walking or boats, and it really gives you a lot of flexibility if you wanted to do something like Caribbean Beach for the Skyliner or or a beach club, yacht club, boardwalk inn. Really, you can extend that out to do Art of Animation or Pop Century too and save a little bit of extra money if you're thinking the Skyliner is going to be fine. Because all of those resorts are very close to Hollywood Studios and EPCOT. And if you're going to be on the bus, it's not a terrible ride there. So those are probably all good options if you're going to be at those parks. Magic Kingdom is really, it breaks down into deluxe monorail distance or not. If those are not going to be where you want to stay, you know you don't want to be there, then really it's a matter of saying, okay, well, how close do you want to be, the ride times on the buses for the Magic Kingdom, and the price range for the resort you're looking at. That's how I would break it down. If you don't need to be ease of access over to Magic Kingdom, you're thinking you're probably going to spend the majority of your time at EPCOT or Hollywood Studios, then I would look at one of those. If I knew I was going on a trip to go to EPCOT and Hollywood Studios the most, then I would look at things like Beach Club, Yacht Club, those there. Personally, I like Beach Club a little bit more, but Beach Club would definitely be one of the options. I still probably would avoid Caribbean Beach only because I did not enjoy that trip the last time. I would maybe try to give them another chance. It was not the best because of the bus loop, but if I knew I was going to be doing EPCOT and Hollywood Studios the most, maybe I would give it a shot because I know that it's, with the Skyliner, that might make a big difference for getting over to that park. If I knew that's where I was going to be. If I thought I was going to be splitting it, Magic Kingdom, EPCOT, Hollywood, Animal, maybe I'd second guess it just because that bus loop can be so tough. But the Skyliner really does make it a good option. If I wanted to save a little extra money, I'd probably look at Art of Animation or Pop Century. I've never stayed there before, but now that the Skyliner's there, I would consider it if I knew I was going to be going mostly to EPCOT and Hollywood Studios. But that's my breakdown. I didn't cover every resort. I didn't go into the details of any resort. If there's any specific resorts that you're looking for more information on and you want me to try to go into details on it, let me know. So I know this isn't going to cover everything. This probably isn't going to actually answer your main question on which specific resort you should stay at, but I hope I was at least able to give you some questions that you can answer that will help guide you and narrow down that selection to some key resorts that you can then compare and figure out which one you want to stay at. Do you have any other ways you would break down the choice on how to pick where you're going to stay? Or do you have a favorite resort you'd like to stay at with definite pros on distances to the different parks and cost? Please put it down in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you'd like to get more of this type of content.